know, who are actively involved in the industry from whether the regulator standpoint or from the operator, is categorized into the small, medium, and large-scale sectors, where ownership of small and medium-sized mineral properties for prospecting and mining is held exclusively by Guyanese, but also we allow ownership or involvement of non-Guyanese in the large-scale mining sector. We also recognize too that involvement in the mining sector is not, however, limited to being a property holder. The person may be involved as an investor, shareholder in a company, managers, coordinators, and providers of logistics support on-site mine operations, such as whether you're involved in a management team or a mine worker. And there's also a range of ancillary and support staffing and functions that go in terms of making mining possible and conducting the day-to-day mining operation. So there's a vast array of individuals and services that are required for the mining sector. Thus, the mining industry in our country can be considered one of the largest employers, and for different levels of skills and for people across our vast country representing our various, whether we come from or religious grouping, culture, and so forth. So it is one of these sectors in which we see there is vibrant participation by all Guyanese. But one of the benefits and attraction of the mining industry is that it is in a sector that is open to both men and women. Can be involved in all of the areas and all of the services, some that I've identified and others that you are fully aware of. But although men and women can be involved in mining and in prospecting, we know over time that some of these areas are predominantly engaged by men primarily. And thus, it is heartening and is also welcome that we saw the formation of the Guyana Women Miners Organization, which we know, and which we know it will continue to do, that is to bring about a new and heightened awareness of the involvement of women in mining, and also that we shape and craft and develop an industry that responds to the special needs of women who want to and are involved in mining. The evolving vision and role of women in mining is to develop women to be independent and successful property owners, miners, managers, professionals, and sub-professionals, for the mining sector to be a place where a person can enjoy well-paid jobs, have satisfaction, and also to have levels of respectability, especially and including our single parents who need to take care of their families. And I want to emphasize that women involvement in mining must be respected, and that we must also ensure that whatever we do, that environment and the activities that are associated with mining operation, that they create a feeling of being equal as they ought to be, but also being respected in sector. We've also recognized that in recent years we've had new elements that have come into play within our quest to develop a viable and sustainable mining sector. And we've had such as the development and the evolution of the low carbon development strategy, the memorandum of understanding between the governments of Norway and Guyana. We've also had greater emphasis on reclamation of mined out sites, and also the dynamics relating to mining and Amerindian land, both titled as well as proposed extension. The international discussion as it relates to the use of mercury in mining have been some of the key and perhaps constant issues, some of them new, we've had to address as our sector expand and grow. But these challenges and these, as it were, new issues some of them dictated by local realities and others by external developments, must allow us to address our minds to what we need to do in successfully overcoming these matters. To ensure, one, the viability and sustainability of the industry, but also to allow us to see the growth of this sector not in any way hampering the overall development of our country. And that is where the Ghana Women Miners Organization can play an important role. In one, allowing us to adjust, allowing us to respond to some of these challenges, and at the same time, allowing us to deal with some of the potential issues that we may have. Also, as we see it, the Ghana Women Miners Organization, working in partnership with the GGDMA as well as the regulator, the GGMC, can also support our efforts to ensure that there is compliance, that there is effective monitoring, there's effective enforcement, and also that whilst we talk about working and responding to the special needs of women in mining, we expect that the organization will fully support all our efforts to ensure that there is compliance. That there's compliance not only within your operations, but also there's compliance across the industry, because all of us need to ensure that at the end of the day, that we have an industry that is respectful of the laws of our country, but one that is operated, that at the end of the day it will be viable and sustainable. And whilst we know our laws give equal opportunity and rights to our women to be involved in mining and prospecting, the reality is that there are more men involved in mining, and that there are certain tasks that are predominantly carried out by men. Therefore, we have to ensure that we allow and we develop the capacity that women too can take and to be allowed to take part freely in any aspect of mining. And that is why we will need to intensify education and intensify awareness across the industry, but especially for our women folks who want to be involved in mining and mining-related activities. Again, I want to challenge the Ghana Women Miners Organization. Here is also another role that you can play in supporting us in ensuring adequate awareness, adequate education as to our regulations in terms of practices. And there will be areas where we will have to introduce new practices. Take for instance, on the issue of mercury, we have to update our current code of practice. We're currently in the process of developing a national action plan in terms of reducing the use of mercury in mining. And we all are aware of the health risk if we use mercury in an unsafe way. And again, the role of the Ghana Women Miners Organization in supporting these initiatives remain very, very critical. I know that you've had a very eventful, a very hectic first year that you've been in existence. I know that we've had a number of partnerships in addressing some of the new and some perhaps the long-standing issues that have confronted the mining sector. And I know that we have also seen the Ghana Women Miners Organization as a reliable partner that we want to develop in addressing some of the social issues. We recognize that there are environmental challenges that go with mining, but there's also some social challenges. And when we go out to the communities or we meet different groups, from time to time, it will be brought to our attention. Some are positive, but also there are some negative social developments. And we expect, and we've seen some vigor, we've seen some true representation from the Ghana Women Miners Organization in having these matters addressed. And one of those has been, and which has pained all of us, and given our government's zero tolerance for the issue of trafficking in person. And the role of the Ghana Women Miners Organization, excuse me, in highlighting this topic, or even bringing to our attention where there will be suspected cases of underage girls, even children working, or even when there are some reports of poor treatment or any activity that contravenes our law. And again, I want to say that our policy within the mining sector or in any sector or across our country is zero tolerance for trafficking in person, for the abuse of children or women, or any other negative social activity. And I want the Guyana Women Miners Organization to partner with the government and the related ministries and the related agencies. I know even last Wednesday, we had a discussion that involved the GGDMA, where certain concerns were raised by a particular community, and it was made quite clearly by the GGDMA that there is zero tolerance. And so we have to fight this issue and related issues, any negative social matters that were sprung up as a result of mining, that we need to combat this together, eradicate these from our areas. And we see the Guyana Women Miners Organization as being important soldiers in this battle. Important soldiers in this battle, and we will continue to partner in dealing with these matters. As I've said, that we're celebrating and you're observing your first anniversary at a point where it's very exciting for mining. We're looking forward in terms of our country's development. We see daily that the role of mining and the contribution of mining to our national economic development is expanding. And I want to make it absolutely clear, and I want to remind all Guyanese that one of the key factors for our macroeconomic stability has been the contribution of mining. And yes, there are associated challenges, as there are associated challenges with any other activity. But I want this body, as well as all other stakeholders, that where there are challenges, rather than to condemn, let us resolve to work together to overcome those challenges. The growth and the development of the mining sector will bring about prosperity for all our people. And that is why it is in our best interest, and for the future of this country, for the stability of this country, that we resolve ourselves to work together, that we develop partnership, and at the end of the day, that groupings such as the Guyana Women Miners Organization, that you recognize how pivotal or important you are, so that we can make mining viable, we can make it very successful, and to our benefit and to the development of our country. With these remarks, I know I'm just supposed to give some opening remarks, but with these remarks, again, I want to extend congratulations to the executive, to the members, and to say that we are proud of every single woman who is involved in mining. And I want to assure you that from the government standpoint and from our regulatory body, the GGMC, you will have an equal space. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Robert Prasad.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Excellency, Acting President and Prime Minister, Honorable Samuel Hines, David Granger, Honorable Minister, I should say, of Natural Resources and the Environment, Robert Prasad, Mr. Robson Ben, Ambassador Hart. Over the last year, we have seen the Guyana Women Miners Association take on a number of serious issues as the organization labored to become a voice for not only women, but also for social change. I know particularly those issues that Minister Prasad has mentioned as well, trafficking in persons, child labor, and a host of other issues. As women miners, you should be proud of what you have accomplished over the last year. The contribution that women make globally to the economy generally, and the mining industry in particular, is worthy of celebration as we reflect on the role of women in the extractive sector. Since the 1800s, minerals and metals have been major contributors to the world economy. Mining industries have proven to be important to all countries with mineral resources, and this is especially so in developing countries. Contrary to the stereotypical image of the sector as male-dominated, the mining industry has always employed women in valuable and productive roles. Yet, mining continues to be represented as a masculine world of work. Records indicate that women have been contributing to the advancement of the 1800s with the North American gold rush, the European coal industry. It's important we recognize the importance of the contribution that women have made to the advancement of the global mining sector. However, the representation of women in the sector still remains comparatively low compared to the global population of women. Women stand ready to make a greater contribution. The readiness of the mining industry to accommodate women also needs to be accelerated as part of the normalization of this industry. The state of women in mining is particularly concerning. The rapid growth of the mining sector has not always allowed for true integration of women into secure jobs that cater to their health and safety. For instance, personal protective equipment for women is still lagging behind. Over the years, there were no adjustments to such designs to meet the needs of female workers within the mining sector. Globally, women miners experience harassment and inhumane treatment by fellow workers. No woman should experience any sort of intimidation at the workplace that inhibits her from becoming most productive and best employed as she can be. It is a responsibility of all to take appropriate action, including enforced regulatory action to ensure that all workers have a safe and a dignified work environment, and that their right to the sanctity of life and limb is protected, and that they are able to return home to their loved ones at the end of the day. The meaningful participation of women in the sector must be premised on the appropriate skills needed to underpin growth and normalization of the sector. Collaboration of government with mining social partners to improve skill development and also to increase the participation of women at all levels is absolutely critical. On a global scale, the mining industry is struggling with a worldwide skills shortage that's expected to intensify. In fact, according to recent reports, the global mining industry may need as many as 1 million new workers in the next decade alone. These needs cannot be met without a substantial increase in the number of women employed within the mining industry. We need to think about the future of sustaining this multi-billion-dollar industry. There is a need for a global shift from the stereotypical images of male-dominated and strength required for employment in the extractive sectors. The days of manual power in mining is swiftly coming to an end. In today's technologically advanced society, it no longer takes only a strong back or muscles to qualify for a job in the mining sector. With the advancement of technology and equipment, anyone with the proper training and education is able to work on a mine site. Companies have begun to focus their operations on employing the best persons for the job, regardless of gender. It is important to focus on men and women being compensated equally for doing the same job. Saying that the future of the global industry is in the hands of women might seem a little exaggerated, but in truth, the situation is. When an aging mining workforce, especially in powerhouse mining countries, the inclusion of women into the mining industry is imperative for its success. With the traditional image of mining changing globally, it is imperative that the human resource side of mining catches up. Change takes time, but making the mineral sector more women-friendly is critical. While there are not as many women at the top levels in mining, at the very least mining companies are starting to be more inclusive. Women are beginning to break through the glass ceiling in mining, and there's more opportunities out there for women. Yes, there is a place for women, and yes, there are great opportunities out there. It starts with education, and the more women that get involved in a positive change, the more development, sustainability, and advancement that will happen. It is also important that women have a stronger voice in mining communities and a greater role in the planning and decision-making processes related to mining. Gender equality is an essential building block to sustainable development. Today, I applaud the Guyana women miners as you celebrate this first-year milestone. Your vision and initiative in launching this organization has given a stronger voice to women in Guyana's mining industry. For the future, you must build upon your accomplishments. The empowerment of women bodes well for all human rights and the eradication of poverty. This is essential for continued economic and social development. I wish you every success in the coming years, and I know that women miners and miners as a whole will do their best to see Guyana Women Miners Organization continue to grow from strength to strength. I salute you. Thank you very much.